Good evening and welcome to the Park and Advisory Committee meeting of July 10th, 2024. Please stand and salute the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please do a roll call of the members?
Julie DeMaio. Here. Paula Gentile.
Here.
Matt Bravo.
Here.
Louis Suarez. Chris
Chamella.
Chamelli. Ira is out. Yes, surgery. And Tom's on vacation. Yeah.
This is the third meeting in a row. We have not been able to get our business owners from the various districts here. So I would want to discuss that a minute. Do we want to we can discuss this maybe later in the meeting, but do we want to look maybe to find replacements, maybe reach out to these members if they would like to start becoming present? I know we've had some issues in the past couple of meetings having a quorum with lacking 2 members already. I did have a member of the public reach out. He is a resident of the Beachmont community. He is in the parking field. He runs a garage in Seaport. I know he was reaching out with interest in joining this committee if one of the business owners should not want to. I know the intent was to make sure that we had a business owner on Shirley Ave and a business owner on Broadway to ensure that they are appropriately represented in these corridors where we can add beautification. So I'll just leave that for some food for thought to open up.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, I'll reach out to the representative from Broadway. I'll go by there tomorrow to see if he's still interested.
Awesome.
And if not, I'll see if I can come up with an alternative person. Yeah.
Thank you, and hopefully Councilor Genzio Novoselsky comes out of his procedure well, and he can contact Valsos. First item on the agenda is to approve the journal from our regular meeting on April 17th, 2024.
Motion to approve.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Approved. Second item is 2 financial updates. One is the EV charge station fund. Julie?
Yep, so since we started charging for the EV chargers, for the public chargers, beginning in February 1st to June 30th, 2024, we have collected $5,629.82. We have dispensed 12.5 megawatts of energy to the public. Total energy dispensed through all charges, including the parking and city vehicles, is 17.5 megawatts. So 5 megawatts is being consumed or distributed to city vehicles such as parking, engineering, but the rest is going toward the public that charge up. So we are averaging about anywhere from 22 to 30 cents a kilowatt. And so we're definitely covering our costs and the expense towards the energy cost for using the chargers.
Thank you for that. If you could please.
Mr. Chairman, I have a
Sorry,
question. Are all the charging stations operational?
They are all operational.
Thank you.
And refresh my memory, I believe that the funds put into this account are not being utilized for the electricity cost, right? These are only going to be reserved for maintenance, repairs, and network subscriptions. Right,
and we are also going to use these funds to put in more charging stations based off the ordinance. That would have to come before the Traffic Commission. We have a new personnel in our office who's working with Weston and Sampson to kind of develop a plan as to where new charging stations could go. I know that the DPW building is looking for charging stations, and that's something that we're looking to put in based on a grant. And so we're hoping, but with that, it would work similar to the charging stations here at City Hall. They would need to be used for both public and municipal vehicles, and the public vehicles would be charged, but any EVs that the city is using to charge up would be free.
Thank you for that update, I appreciate that. For the Park and Benefits District Fund, as of today, we have finished our fiscal year 24 deposits. There is currently $47,447.42 available for us in this account. I'm hoping the committee can continue to identify different aspects where we could use these funds. I know some of this wayfinding signage in front of us tonight is one of the main components of our Broadway corridor master plan, and I know that we are strapped in what we do have available, and I'd be happy to further discuss. I know we have a request later on, so we'll speak on that a little bit more. The third item on the agenda for tonight is we've been discussing at length our various tree pits and what we want to do to handle them and how we want to beautify them. I know there's been some discussion of crushed stone, some synthetic material. I wanted to put it up to the committee to see if we wanted to identify at least 5 or 10 tree pits in each corridor, Shirley Ave and Broadway, and identify if we want to do 2 of them crushed stone, 2 of them synthetic, 2 of them mulch, and see which one lasts better, or what is the thought of this committee? I'll open up to any members that want to speak on this.
Well,
Chris?
Councilman, I think we've already tried the other 2 options.
Okay.
We do have some tree pits that currently have crushed stone, and I think we skipped the mulch this year, but I'd like to see how this material holds up. I'd like to have a couple locations around the city to test this new material out.
And that was the crushed stone material you're looking to?
No. This is the synthetic poured in place.
Okay. And have we ever been able to get any cost assessments on per square footage for synthetic material laid out?
Oh, no, I have not looked into that.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman,
Mr. Agenzio?
I believe Bill Guanasso, down at the Public Works Department, the Assistant Superintendent, has spoken to our playground person that we use to do the rubberized surfacing at our playgrounds. And I have spoken to that gentleman also from the playground place. The more pits you do, the cost comes down. So his suggestion was to do a minimum of 10 or 20 pits, 10 on Shirley Avenue, 10 on Broadway. We do have to do some work to the pits prior to them coming into pouring them. So I think if we reach out to Mr. Guanasso and the playground company, I think we can get a accurate figure within a week or so. And I suggest we try that. I know we did try one a few years ago. A company came out and demonstrated it for us. It worked great for like 3 or 4 years, and then I think a car hit the tree or what have you. The tree had to come out, so naturally the surfacing had to come out. I think it's the best option. It is expensive, but the mulch and the stone, people get out of their cars, they kick the mulch, they kick the stone. There's still weeds that grow around the edges. So I think that's probably our best bet right now, to give it a try. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Agenzio. Between Chris Trammell, do you think, and Councilor Agenzio, do you think it's possible to have some definitive pricing and estimates on these 20 pits in place for next meeting? And that we can put
The next meeting is?
October 9th.
Oh,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah.
Okay. If we want to try to meet before then, to make some movement before the fall, and that way October 9th can be our public hearing for a motion like that, I'd be more than happy to call another meeting in August if that's the wish of the committee.
Okay, so all our expenditures need to go to public hearing?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Awesome. So we'll table that until next meeting. Do I have a motion to table?
Motion to table.
Second, thank you. For our request tonight, the first request is from our transportation coordinator, and it's in regard to what we discussed earlier, the wayfinding signage along Broadway. The current request is $10,000 per sign, if I believe, and
Yeah.
I'll let her speak a little bit more on that.
Yep, so the wayfinding project for Broadway has been ongoing. The packet that you have here before you tonight just shows you where the signage would go, what type of signage it would be. Currently, our first estimates, it would be about 40 signs across all of Broadway from Brown Circle to Route 16. We have 100,000 through APA that we have been appropriated just for this project. However, the signage is going to come in around anywhere from $295,000 to $300,000. That's installation, that's fabrication, delivery, and that would cover the whole corridor. It would also include kiosks located in certain parts of Broadway. However, we did apply for a grant, and we have not heard back from the state for the grant to cover up the remaining $200,000 we would need to pay for this project. So we are scaling it back. We're placing pedestrian awareness and parking identification signage from Pleasant Street to about Mountain Ave. What we do know is that the public parking lot identity signs, there would be 2 of them, and they would range anywhere from 10 to 11,000. And then we'd put another 7 vehicle directional signs in the area, and those range around the same price. What we were thinking, if we could get a request to pay for at least 1 sign through the Parking Benefits District for Broadway, we could then maybe use that $100,000 to add some additional signage on Broadway. That's one thing that we would like to incorporate in this project is some district identity discs. So Broadway has been broken into 3 different identities, north, south, and central. Those are also in the packet, or we would even look into having some district identification signage at the end of Route 16 and Brown Circle. So kind of letting people know that there's something along the area, if you're coming off of Inter Riviera from Route 16 or from Squire Road, you're entering a commercial district. So we are getting ready to put this out to bid because we have waited far too long, and me and my colleagues that have been working on this, we'd really like to see something on the street soon. But we're just asking for at least, to pay for 1 sign, if not 2. 2 would be great, but I understand we want to make sure that we spread this out to everybody. So it would be a request for $10,000 for 1 parking identification sign.
Thank you. Any members have any questions?
Yeah, sorry, just what was the idea of breaking up Broadway into sections?
So that was based off of the consultant's suggestions, because Broadway is over a mile long. And so you have the central business district, which is very dense, and you kind of, when you get into that area, you know where you are. And that's really where the key concentration of shops are. But you have the north end, which is closer to Squire Road, and you have some shops there. There's going to be some development, residential development. And then you also have Southern Broadway, which is coming from Route 16. So it was just kind of trying to give some sense of place when you're on the corridor, kind of identifying them as north, south, and central to kind of, so if you want to say, well, my business is located in the northern portion of Broadway, but also in terms of letting people know where they are that are walking and biking, that are new to the area. It just kind of just breaks the corridor up into 3 main sections. Everything you see in the packet was sent out on a survey last July. So the color schemes, the design have all been voted on. We had about 50 residents and a combination of business owners on Broadway participate in the survey. So this is not something that my department just decided to say, this is what we want. We put this out to the public, and this is the response we got back.
One question I have, if this committee votes to approve these funds, is this just acting currently as a placeholder in the event that you are able to get another grant or additional funding?
Yes, I mean, I would have thought by now with the new fiscal year that we would have heard about the grant. We submitted the grant last October. We were supposed to hear in January. What we think is happening is that they waited for the new fiscal year to award those grantees. But we could certainly do that. But I can't put the bid out unless I have guaranteed funds. So I know I have 100,000, maybe 110,000. So if you guys approve it, that would be great.
Absolutely. I just wanted some clarification, kind of how we worked with Novoselsky, Council Novoselsky with the Costa Park signs. We provided money as a placeholder as he is still looking for additional funds for the same thing. Awesome. Is it the wish of this committee to send this to a public hearing?
Motion to send to a public hearing.
Second that motion? Second that motion. So approved.
So, Mr. Chairman, we would hold a public hearing prior to our October meeting, so then we would be able to vote on it in October. Is that the?
I think we would have a public vote during that meeting in
Oh, we
case
can,
any members
okay.
of the public.
So we can get the cost of the tree pits things, and we can tackle both issues at the same time. Okay, thank you.
Awesome. And then there was an additional request from Councilor Novoselsky regarding adding 6 planters for Shirley Ave while adding 10 flower plantings for 10 overall planters. So what it sounds like, he has 4 planters currently down the corridor. He wants to add 6, but he also needs to fill these. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to make it tonight, so he wasn't able to provide a price for us to determine if we wanted to move forward. So at this point, I'll be looking for a motion to table this for the next meeting.
Motion to table.
Motion to table. Second the motion?
Second, yeah.
Second. So ordered. Currently, we don't have any members of the public here this evening. Are there any additional input or any questions from members here tonight?
I have one comment, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
I know the city every year is the recipient of approximately $30,000 or $40,000 in ride share money. This is money that's kicked back to the city from like Uber and Lyft. And there is discussion every year on how to spend that. I'll reach out to Mr. Viscay, and maybe this money could be set aside and put towards this wayfinding, try to help this project along a little bit. So I'll reach out to him tomorrow, and if he says it's available and it hasn't been committed, I could make a motion to, at the next council meeting, to maybe commit it to this wayfinding.
I think that'd be a help with where we're trying to go with the Broadway corridor. Awesome.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Any additional comments
I
or
just have
questions?
one remark. I just want to, if we're doing a test sign for this wayfinding, what would you guys recommend the first sign be? Something like along the lines of the public parking? Because I don't want to have like one random sign.
It would be, so we would have, so we would kind of cut, we would, you mean the the signs at the very end of the corridor, or the ones that, the 9 signs that we're planning to put in total?
The $10,000 we'll be paying for one of these 9 signs, correct?
Right, so right now, we have 2 parking lot identity signs, but we have 3 parking lots here. So if we could get the funding for the additional parking lot, there would be Central Ave, City Hall, and Hill School. And then, so those, all 3 parking lots would be identified, and then there'd be.
Okay.
Yeah, so there would,
That's probably-
all
that's
3
good.
of them would be, because what we're knowing right now, we have a parking study going on, and Zach sits in on this committee as well, is that the Central Ave parking lot is underutilized, the Hill
100%.
School parking lot is underutilized, City Hall parking lot is not underutilized, but I think what the reality is that a lot of people aren't aware of the function of the Central Ave parking lot, as well as the Hill School. You can park there when school is over or school is out. So it would be clustered together. And then, there'd be those standard blue parking symbols as you come into the district, and then the different identity lots would be identified.
So there would be 3 signs getting installed?
3.
Okay.
So there'd be 3 parking lot identification signs, and then there'd be another 7 directional signs
I'm
coming.
The funding for the first $10,000 asked for this parking committee would only be putting up 1 sign though, correct?
1 sign, yep.
Which one would that be?
Yep.
That's my concern. That was my question.
I think the ARPA funds would pay for approximately 10 signs.
The opera funds would pay for 10, would pay for
Okay,
9
okay.
signs, 9 signs.
Right.
Yeah.
Understood.
So we would be adding another sign to
One
the
more
ones that
sign,
ARPA.
Okay.
yeah.
I think, if I'm correct, I think the committee's just trying to alleviate some of the stress of the funds that are being spent to allow her to pick up on some additional signs. All right, do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Adjourn, thank you.